Hi everyone, delonewolf here, welcome back for some more EVE Online, and in today's video I want to take a look at Amarr, the second trade hub in the game. I am curious to see how Amarr is doing, especially comparing it for some of the business that I regularly run in Jita, and also what the impact of the taxes will be on the Amarr trade hub. From EVE Talk I saw that Jita is holding decently well so far, although there's definitely some goods like PI that are switching over very heavily to the player-owned structures because of the difference in taxes. I think for a lot of regular stuff like Tech 2 ships, for instance, Tech 3 ships as well, the advanced move materials, all of that stuff still seems to be traded mostly in Jita 4.4, and perhaps you have like one order here and there in a player-owned trade hub. So that makes a very big difference to what I was expecting. I really thought that the move was going to get started, but Amarr is the second trade hub in EVE Online, and it is a lot smaller than Jita. And so I think if there's one sign that across the board we might see more moving from NPC stations to player-owned structures for the trading, it might be that. I'm gonna take some BPCs over as well. That business is going decently well. If we take a look at my contracts, you can see that I again can put up 15 of them, so this is selling quite nicely. And if I take a look at my wallet, you can see that they are selling here as well. I also received a donation, 200 million from Azeotropic. Thank you very much for that. Definitely helps with keeping the fuel up and running in all of my structures. But here you can see 15 million, another one, 3.5, then several of 9, several at 7.5 million. This is the business that I do when it comes to the BPCs, and I do sell those generally speaking in Jita. But here in Amarr, it's only 8 jumps away from the top. There is this secondary trade hub, and I want to see if we can still do business here as well, or if, like in the perimeter system, there's now some player-owned trade hubs that are taking over business. So let's dock up here. This is my fast transport ship. The fit will be in the description of the video, and that's what I use when I need to move some stuff quickly. That's not too big. I'm actually gonna take the opportunity to move some pyrite out as well. I am actually starting to stockpile my minerals and my ores, my compressed ores, in Jita as well, because I think that when the prices go up, that will be the easiest place to sell those. So I'm actually gonna just stockpile them here for a moment. You can see that I've got some extra BPCs in here as well. Some faction pieces, but nothing that is worth a lot of ISK. So it's not like I can really check a lot of the faction prices or anything like that. But let's move these in here as well, and let's maybe start with that. So we saw from the wallet that 15 million is what I easily managed to sell these Orca BPCs for in Jita, and then we are going to look for those in the contracts here. Go into the current station, and here, oh wow, that's a surprise. The cheapest one is at 23 million. Definitely worth an experiment. Let's see if I can put this up for 19 million. Like that. Next, finish yes, and then we're gonna copy that contract a couple of times. That would be nice. 4 million increase and fewer jumps. So definitely a worthwhile experiment. My expectation is that I will sell them, but since this is a much smaller trade hub, that it will take more time to actually manage to do that. Next up, we'll take a quick look at the Estrahus BPC as well. Go into the station. I think this one was like 3.5 million, and nobody is selling that here. 6.6 million. Let's give that one a try at, let's say, 5.9 million. That would be a very nice price compared to the price in Jita. And then we have the Athenor, which is doing decently well. I think it was the 7.5 million contract. That seems to be decently similar. 8 million here in Jita. So let's try that same here in Amarr, excuse me. Let's try that same price. 7.5 million. I'd be happy with that as well. And then finally, I also make a couple of writer blueprints every week. I think I can actually make 3 of them in a single round, and that's 14 million, 20 million for most of them. That is interesting. I think this one goes for 9 million in Jita. Let's try 12.5. Just, you know, a decent markup, but also decently competitive. and hope that we can sell them. I'll definitely try to keep you guys up to date on how that evolves as I either sell them or they don't sell, and then I'll find them back in the item hanger in like 4 weeks or so. Hopefully they'll sell. It would be nice to have that markup and that secondary market, which for instance I could then try to seed once a month and then 3 weeks in Jita. It might overall increase my profits and my prices. Definitely something to look at. But what I wanted to take a look at is also the trading. So here we have a similar chart, of course, for Plex, top close to 4.5 million, now decreasing 3.5 million in the Amarr station, 3.3 million, a bit less than that for the buyer, so that's a bit less of a margin. And then what is going to be interesting, let's maybe try and make that a little bit bigger. This is the filter for only in this station. Let's see what's happening outside the station, because in Plex it is huge, and here we do see in a shop one job out, the Port Royal from Eve Mogul, that is dominating a lot of the Plex sales. But it's not as bad as in Perimeter. I'm a bit surprised by that. The first sellers are actually here in Amarr, and then we have some sellers in the trade hub itself, and then here at 3.6 million. That's where in Jita again there's some more coming in. The quantity is pretty tiny though, so I think there's just, and pretty recent, so people are just trying to compete and getting rid of some Plex at the current prices. Let's take a look at the buy orders. Also definitely quite competitive, in fact surprisingly competitive. That seems to make a pretty damn big difference on the taxes of buy orders as well, because we have 3.3 million almost for the buyers in Jita, and it's actually competing with that buy order here and that buy order here. But the people that put these up in the Port Royal will have a much better deal than this one buyer here in Jita, in Amarr 8. It is Emperor Family Academy. So interesting stuff in the Plex market. We're definitely seeing competition, but not yet total domination of the Plex market, because some people are still selling and trying to sell at the player trade center prices as well. Let's go take a look at some of the other stuff then. For instance, Tritanium was starting to have a mixed there was some activity in the trade hub, but here, right, if you look outside of the station, 10 jumps, 5 jumps, 7 jumps for prices of around 6. It's going for 7 is almost in the Amarr station itself. And in the player, yeah, here in the Port Royal, 750 for one sell order, so that is really not that much. All right, interesting. When it comes to the goods, it's not moving, at least in the most popular mineral. Let's maybe take a quick look at Pyrite. No, or the other extreme here is Hydrine. We do have one sell order here. Taking a look at the buy orders, a couple, but the best sell or buy orders are also in this very station. Maybe we should take a look at that on the buying of Tritanium as well. Yeah, almost no competition in the Port Royal. One buyer at 589. In Jita Station, they're going up to 620. So it looks like the mineral market is still very much dominated by the Amarr trade hub. PI was definitely something that was starting to switch over a lot more than minerals, I would say. So here it could be quite interesting. And yeah, that's a big deal actually. Broadcast nodes, one seller in the Amarr trade hub. This really shows the difference in size between Jita and Amarr. Normally you get a full page in Jita of sellers trying to compete for the broadcast nodes. There is nobody here selling broadcast nodes. 2.5 million. Let's see if there's just been a buyout or something. Yeah, the volumes are much more violent than in Jita as well, with well, the average volumes being really very low. So that's definitely not being traded as much here. Let's take a quick look at the construction blocks next. 9.5k, almost 11,000 for most sellers, less than 9,000 for the buyers. That's a huge difference actually. The bottom in Jita is at 10,000. If you could buy here and sell in Jita, that's a very big deal. So this is showing to me that there's actually trade opportunities between Jita and Amarr already in the PI segment. And yeah, total domination again by the sellers in the trade hub in the NPC station. And then the buyers, you've got some of them here though, right? The Port Royal is definitely well represented here as well. That's because you can set up a buy order, one jump out. These are green for that reason. I could sell to this buy order from this very station. And so this is just like, all right, since we can't put up the buy order here anyways, but we can still grab them in the NPC station, that's why people are putting up these buy orders, just one jump out. So it is to evade the taxes, but there is no total domination. To my surprise, even in these refined PI materials, all the sellers, all that action is still happening in the trade NPC station itself. Alright, coolants, one exception. You get a couple orders of a decent volume, 25,000 and 14,000 units at 12,000 disc. That is competitive, but most of the sellers, you can clearly see, are still going inside the NPC station. So PI, that's another no. I'll take a quick look at advanced PI materials as well. This stuff I think mostly needs to be imported from Nullsec, and here we have one small seller, but it's only 16,000 units in the Port Royal. All of them though in the Amarr station itself. Buyers, that's a different story. Definitely a 50-50 situation here, with the most competitive buy orders for this, at least the crystalline carbonates, being done in the Port Royal, the player owned structure. So that's the big difference. If you can put them up there and you're still willing to go for the same margin, then you have that difference in taxes that can allow you to put up a bigger buy price. And it doesn't matter, just set it to one jump and they can even sell to this buy order from this very station. So that is basically what is still keeping people inside these NPC stations, apparently. Look at that, ferrite carbide, only here. Then we still have a quick look at titanium carbide. Yeah, one sell order here of 100,000 units, but it's not even that competitive compared to the rest. It's going to be tricky to unload that. And then tungsten carbide, that's that's an unusual situation. One sell order, and it's only in the Port Royal trade hub. Let's take a quick look at the volumes. Yeah, that's kind of bad on what's being sold every day. Here we do just see a big jump up from 200 to 300. So I think someone just bought everything and put it back down in the Port Royal trade hubs. There's some signs that some people do want to give it a try. Ceramic fibers though, nope. Look at that, nanotransistors, 100% of the sell orders in the NPC station. Quite surprised by that. I thought we would see more movement. Quick look at some Tech 2 ships here. Here is the Ares, for instance, selling for 31 million in Amarr. That's a decent chunk more than in Jita, I must say. So here we do have a little bit of a move up right at the tail end. So perhaps, yeah, this buy order price is in line with what we would expect in Jita. But the general vibe here again, one sell order in the Port Royal, everything else in the NPC station, and then the buyers, that is starting to move over, right? We definitely have buyers coming in the Port Royal, although the most expensive one, the one that's willing to pay the best price, still happening in the NPC station itself. I'll quickly take a look if we see anything different. Here is the Basilisk, for instance. That's total domination of the NPC station, not a single order, just one jump out. Cerberus, yeah, one sell order of a single unit for 280 in Port Royal. I mean, that's not going to impact the actual Cerberus market or average prices really by anything. So here, Manticore, a little bit smaller ship, the higher the chance I think that we'll see that. Buy orders as well here in Port Royal, trying to compete, but the best prizes still being put up right here in the NPC station. All right, quick look at some Tech 3 ships as well. A couple sellers here trying to dominate the lowest prices, and then the sellers, buyers, again, that 50-50 situation with the highest buy prices in the Emperor Family Academy still. Hecate, total domination again by the NPC station. Legion, same thing. 200 million here for a Legion in Amarr. Buyers down at 160. That's a pretty wide margin, and you can see most of the high up trades here still happening in this station. Loki, station 6 jumps out, so the cheapest one is here. That's where the competition is still coming, despite 5 being traded in the Port Royal. And again, the buyers also being dominated inside this very station. So I think that we can conclude at this point that the taxes have not chased out all of the traders from the NPC trade hubs. At this point it looks like they still have a ways to go. What's definitely starting to move are some of the buy orders, but what we see there is that people just add a jump to the range so that they can still grab that trade inside the NPC station itself, and thus they are still very much dominating trade in EVE Online, despite the fact that taxes have basically doubled. Taxes have doubled, and the impact of skills has increased a little bit to make up for that just a touch, but NPC stations have become a lot more expensive to trade, and yet that has not chased out the traders. The one lesson that generally we do learn when it comes to taxes is that the end user, the consumer, pays them, and so I do think that traders can basically just change their margins to make up for that tax, and that it seems like people are still choosing safety, the safety of an NPC station, over the potential risks that a player structure could have, at least for trading. There is not just the potential risk that CCP at some point might decide that asset safety has to go, but also you don't know when the owner of a structure decides to increase his taxes or decides to get rid of his station or denies you docking rights or gets war decked and actually loses his structure as well. So there are definitely risks to trading in someone else's structure, and most people still don't seem to be willing to take that risk. That's very interesting to me. I'm definitely also going to take a look at my margins between Amarr and Jita, because to me it looks like there is some ISK to be made there as well. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Amarr trade hub, and especially about the taxes. Has that changed your habits when it comes to trading in EVE Online? I would definitely love to read up on all of that as well. For now, thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.